Ladies and gents, welcome to another video here on the EGL channel, CDL Talk with Tunn. This CDL is, well, back. It never really left, to be fair. But at the same time, you know, things have taken a little bit of a break and we've been sort of waiting on things getting up and running once again. And we're into stage 2. Of course, you know, we've had the revelation that things are going to be kind of more online based, and obviously there was layoffs, etc. We're not going to dive too much into it. Online based is probably something that's been a consequence of what's happened with COVID, and I think look, online, I say I'm not going to delve into it, here I am. LAN is always going to be better. It's always going to be more of an integrity behind LAN wins. It's always going to be more of a level playing field. But the fact that tournament organizers such as Activision, the CDL, OWL, everywhere else will be realizing that they can run these things online to a pretty decent standard. The viewers are still there, but they're not having to pay millions for the events. That's the thing. I mean, look, for me, living in the UK, it's great because I can commentate on all the events which are online. But at the same time, it would be nice to get back LAN events, and I hope they don't peel it back too much. I understand why cutting costs, etc., because I have no doubt that they did probably lose money last year, obviously with the franchise side of things, just up and running, then COVID. I mean, there's not many businesses who haven't struggled because of it across the board, not just in esports. You know, esports has done well in it, but still, companies such as Activision would have lost money because of this. Nonetheless, that's irrelevant to this conversation. We're kind of going to go through these groups, sort of rank where we think things are going to finish, just as an overall on the top look, not necessarily delving into matchups or any specific reasons, but we're sort of just looking from the outside in to sort of see what we think is going to look like, what we think the tables are going to look like towards the end. Let's start with Group Alpha. Of course, we have FaZe, Thieves, Subliners Ultra, Gorillas, and the Royal Ravens. I think we'll start at the bottom on this one. I'm going to put Ravens at the bottom. Look, I was brutally unimpressed with them when I did manage to cast over them. They look like they have it potentially in them. Polex coming in for Parasite is probably a decent change. Parasite coming in there was very, very quick. They didn't have much time to practice, and I mean, I suppose it's the same with Polex. They won't really have a great deal of time with games starting tomorrow. However, I still think they'll get better, but their group is quite tough. I think I'm gonna put Ultra next, but more to the point, I still think Ultra are pretty far ahead of them and will beat them quite handily. The Ravens have the players to turn it around, and I want to see them do so. I don't know when that starts though, and I don't think their group is an easy place to do that. Next, as I said, I would have had Ultra in there as well. I think the methods thing was, I don't know, it's one of those things where they felt that a change was needed. We've seen last year that they're really not afraid to make those changes either, so realistically, it's not too much of a surprise to see it happen. I was surprised to see it was Zinni. Of course, he seems to be the talisman of that Ultra squad, but not necessarily working out from that scenario. Very excited to see how Inside does, though. I think he deserves the opportunity. Played very, very well on the open side of things, on the challengers side. Of course, going on to win that in North America. So he's a good player. We all know he's a good player. Let's see how he does in the squad. Next, I would probably put the Gorillas. They put in a decent performance during finals, and excited to see if they can continue that. But I want to say that was maybe their limit test, and I think that's probably as far as they go. Of course, we have seen time and time again back and forth. There has been times where, specifically last year, and well, you know, being online Call of Duty and the amount of different results we've seen, it's quite hard to predict, but I would still think they're comfortably in the mid-pack in this one. I'll put them in 4th in this table because I think the top 3 are very, very good. Let's move on to the top 3. I think I'm probably going to put Thieves as the 3rd team in this one. If I was to pick any, it's tough between them and the Subliners, which gives you a good hint to who I'm putting first. But the Thieves started well, was a little bit of a slow uptake towards the end. I just don't think they've got the good matchup against Subliners and FaZe in this one. Subliners coming in 2nd. Interested to see if Hydra does get a run in any point, but I thought they were quite unfortunate not to do a little bit better in the finals, of course. I feel as if they probably can go on and finish potentially first in this group if they have a good result against FaZe, but it's hard to see FaZe being beat at the moment, which is why we'll put them in 1st. And, well, typically their game is actually going to be 1st as well tomorrow, if I remember correctly. Well, I remember correctly. I've literally got it on my screen because we're about to talk about it. But FaZe against Subliners is going to be a really good indication to see which way this group's going to go. But FaZe, I think, are still going to be above and beyond. That team is so scary. We said at the beginning of the year, adding in Alec to what Simp, Abizi, and Salium is terrifying. And we've seen that firsthand, of course, during the major finals. So I think that FaZe are going to be at the top. Subliner second, Thieves third, Gorillas fourth, Ultra fifth, Ravens sixth. Moving over to Group Bravo, we have Dallas, Empire, Optic, Chicago, Florida Mutineers, Paris Legion, Rocket, Surge. I'm struggling with this one, if I'm honest with you, because the Surge have the potential to go and do something. I mean, let's just have a look through. I mean, look, it ended early for them against Florida. Florida looked pretty decent in fairness, but you look at the roster, and they have the potential to be very, very good, but it was the same last year. Like, they've got Octane, and now with Gunless. I don't know. I think maybe a potential change might come through if this one doesn't go the way they want it to. I'm going to put them in sixth. I think that's probably quite fair. I think that's where a lot of people would have them. But do not be surprised if they just turn it around all of a sudden and they start to finally fire. Because if they do, they could climb up this ranking very, very quickly if they do start to hit form. Coming in next, I'm probably going to say the Legion. Look, they got better, and I think they will continue to get better. But I just feel as if this group is very, very difficult for them to deal with, realistically. I'm not too keen against some of these matchups. Well, you're going in against Rocker, Mutineers, Chicago, Dallas. Very, very difficult group. It's all difficult. I think both groups are pretty stacked in certain kind of ways. I think it's very, very balanced to a certain degree. I think it's hard, though, to see the Legion getting past some of these guys. I mean, I said they lost out to Florida, who I would probably put in there as my third pick, in fairness. Let's move on to the next one, though. I think fourth is probably going to be the Rocker. For me, the Rocker definitely faltered. I mean, they started off so well, but they need to have some more strings to their bow than just one specific game mode. And if they haven't worked on that, which I mean, look, they would have, they will have worked on it, but it hasn't made the difference. If they haven't worked on it well enough, they're still going to struggle. That's why I would put them in fourth. Mutineers I put in third. I think it's a pretty safe one. They had a very, very decent side of things. Obviously beating Seattle, then Paris, which is, well, I mean, very good for their group. But at the same time, losing out in New York, only 3-2. You start on the loser bracket. It's a very, very bitter pill to swallow, I think, for Florida, who could have went on to do better. Of course, New York finishing relatively high in third place. So you only lost to third place, 3-2. What, they would have played LAG next if they had won that game, then Chicago, then, you know, like, you're talking top 5, top 4 potentially if they go on to win that game against New York. If they didn't, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but at the same time, they lose to an opponent who's very, very good. Nonetheless, I put them in third in this one. And probably in the order that it goes is realistically the same. Chicago coming in second is very much a relatively safe one, although I think the Mutineers could potentially push them. But losing out to New York 3-0 for Chicago was probably a little bit of a one that they will not look at back kindly. They lost to Empire 3-2 as well, so they were one of the teams who pushed them other than Atlanta FaZe. But I think it's a safe bet to put Chicago in second to this one, with Empire, of course, in first. I just want to see Empire improve as a whole, just to see if we can see that push onto FaZe towards the end of Stage 2. I'm very interested to see how that one goes, but that will be the rankings for Group B. Empire first, Chicago second, Mutineers third, Rocker in fourth, Legion in fifth, Seattle Surge in sixth. Let's move on to the start of the schedule. Stage 2, week 1. I'd love to be involved in this again, by the way. I know it was Super Week and that was the reason that we jumped in, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time casting some of these games. We only got a couple, of course, but it was good fun nonetheless. But let's jump into these ones, and if you guys do want to follow my pick'ems, I will be putting them on every single day on the EGL TikTok for what we're going to be coming up. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there will be videos on the EGL TikTok of my predictions. Whether you want to follow them or not is up to you. Kicking off very, very nicely with FaZe against Subliners. I think, you know, FaZe realistically take this. They'll be riding on a high, but they cannot underestimate the Subliners, but they will know that as well. I think FaZe take this one pretty handily, a 3-1 or something along those lines. Mutineers against Surge is going to be a good limit test for Surge to sort of figure out where they're at. If they aren't firing, they might get smoked, if I'm honest with you. It's one of those that is winnable for Surge, so I would like to see a good performance out of them. A good performance will be good enough even if they don't win, like a 3-2 or even just close games across the board, just to give us a good indication of where they are at. Saturday, March the 20th, Chicago against Legion. I expect Chicago to win this, but as I said, for the Legion, I think they could potentially make their way back up to this one, but they will continue to get better. I just don't know if they have it in them to beat Optic potentially at this moment in time. Rocker against Mutineers will be a very interesting one as well. Again, it's mid-pack, isn't it? Optic Chicago, Paris Legion, Mutineers Rocker. These are all very, very close games. Florida Mutineers, I feel, will probably take this one in a 3-2 fashion or something along those lines. Empire against Surge, this is a 3-0. I don't know why it's a marquee match. I think the way that Surge have been playing, it doesn't go well for them. But of course, that's on the Saturday. Why would they order it in that way? Friday is when we're going over towards Group A, of course, with Thieves against Ultra. Again, it'll be a good idea to sort of keep an eye on Insight in this one, see how he does, and see if he can get going on this Ultra roster. But it's a tough game against Thieves first and foremost. I think Thieves probably push them out of that specific matchup. Legion against Rocker is going to be a good one as well. Again, it's sort of that mid-ground of where do these teams in the middle lie. I think it's very easy to decide the top and bottom, but it's the middle, like even 3, maybe even 4 teams where you're a little bit like, oh god, I don't actually know where everyone's going to lie. But then we move on to Sunday. We've got a triple header on there as well. Of course, we've got the days mixed up on this one, but Gorillas against Royal Ravens should be a decent game. I want to see what we see out of Paul X from the Royal Ravens. He's a very good player, and I like that he's getting a good shot here with the Ravens. But I just don't know if they have enough in them to beat Gorillas. I don't know. I don't think one player changes the roster entirely and changes the fortunes of that roster. Atlanta FaZe against Toronto Ultra should be a FaZe win. Although, as said, it's going to be interesting to see how Cammy does over the week on Friday and Sunday. So, not Cammy, Insight does with Cammy in the team, of course, over Friday and Sunday. Of course, it's basically an all-European team now. Marky B really just kicking all the Americans out of the Ultra squad, strangely. Los Angeles Thieves and New York Subliners to end it. Subliners got a real tough time of things over the next 4 days, and this will probably really decide who's going to be sitting top of the group as we go towards the end, as top end of that group is really all going up against each other. I think that'll be a banger. I think it'll be a very, very good game. I'm going to lean towards Subliners on this one, but it should be a very interesting game. Let me know what you think of Stage 2 kicking off. Do you agree with the power rankings where we sort of put each team in the group? If we actually just bring that back up and we can have a look at that once more. So we actually had Ravens last, Ultra then coming in 5th, Gorillas in 4th, Subliners in 2nd, Thieves in 3rd, and FaZe in 1st. Then we had Empire at the top of Bravo, Chicago's 2nd in there as well with Mutineers in 3rd. We had Rocker in 5th, Rocker in 4th, Legion in 5th, Surge in 6th. It's pretty much all the same until it gets to that bottom games, but it's in and around 5th, 4th, 6th, 3rd, 4th, 5th in both groups. That I think can change, maybe just in 4th, 5th, 6th in Group Alpha. I think Subliners, FaZe, and Thieves are very much at the top of that one. But let me know what you think of my power rankings, where you think things are lying. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm completely wrong? Who do you think is going to surprise us? Are Ravens going to bounce back? Are Surge going to bounce back? Are FaZe going to still be the best? Or Empire potentially going to stop them? Let me know what you think below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you for the next one.